students, welcome to our lesson for today. We are going to discuss what are pronouns, so let's get started. Before we get started, we need to remember, what is a noun? Remember, a noun is a word for a person, place, thing, or idea. On the other hand, pronouns are words that replace nouns or noun phrases. There are several types of pronouns. Woof, look at that list. Don't worry, we're not going to look at all of those. Those are for future lectures. But for today's lecture, we're going to study personal pronouns, which can be further categorized as subjective, objective, possessive, and reflexive pronouns. For the purposes of today's lecture, we're going to study subject pronouns. Now let's go over a few rules. First things first, we need to identify the main noun or the subject in the sentence. The subject is the main noun doing the action or the verb. And subject pronouns are these words that replace those subject nouns. So in first person singular, we use I. Plural, we use we. In second person, you can be used for either singular or plural, so they're interchangeable. And in third person, for he, we use it for masculine subjects. She is used for feminine subjects. And it can be used for objects or things. In plural form, we use they, which can be referring to masculine or feminine subjects. Let's take a look at this in writing. So in green, we have all the nouns highlighted in the original paragraph. And we're going to see how subject pronouns can make our writing clearer. The airline pilot and the passengers had been on the plane for 8 hours. The airline pilot was flying in the dark. The airline pilot and the passengers all wanted to go home. Pretty repetitive there. So let's see how this can be revised to make it clearer. The airline pilot and the passengers had been on the plane for 8 hours. He was flying in the dark. They all wanted to go home. So highlighted in blue, we have the subject pronouns. The airline pilot is replaced by the subject pronoun he, and the passengers is replaced by the subject pronoun they. Now, why do we use pronoun? From that exercise, it makes it pretty clear. We use pronouns to avoid repetition. And second, in doing so, we make our sentences and writing clearer. And because they're frequently used in everyday speech and writing, it's best that we familiarize ourselves with this form so that we're able to use it when we're speaking and we're writing. Now let's look at a few examples. Number 1, Mary and Wendy bought the airline tickets. In this sentence, we have 2 female subjects, and there's more than one, so the best subject pronoun to use would be they. And remember, they can be used for masculine subject nouns as well. So if this had been Dan and Bob, we would also use the subject pronoun they. Number 2, the luggage weighs 20 pounds. One interesting thing to note about luggage here is that it's a non-count noun, which means that it's always in singular form, even if it refers to multiple items. So if I had more than one luggage, I wouldn't say 3 luggages, it would still be luggage. So keeping this knowledge in mind, the best subject pronoun and the correct one to use is it. It weighs 20 pounds. Number 3, you and I are seated next to each other on the plane. Now, this is in first person. Which pronoun would be used to replace the subject noun? We. We are seated next to each other on the plane. Number 4, common errors made with subject pronouns include the following when we see that the subject noun is repeated in the sentence. When the pilot gets tired, the pilot switches roles with the co-pilot. Many students make this error in stating, when the pilot gets tired, they switch roles with the co-pilot. This is incorrect because the pilot is a singular subject noun, so they can only work for plural subject nouns, and that's incorrect. In the second one, we have when he or she gets tired, he or she switches roles with the co-pilot. This is also incorrect because you need to refer to the subject noun in order to replace it with a subject pronoun. So what's the correct answer? When the pilot gets tired, the pilot switches roles with the co-pilot. Here's your answer. When the pilot gets tired, he or she switches roles with the co-pilot. They must agree in gender and number. And the pilot in this case can be either female or male, and it's singular. Now this is your turn. For your task, I'd like you to pause this video and answer the following questions by writing the correct subject pronoun that replaces the subject nouns in these sentences. Number 1, the airline tickets cost $800. Number 2, if a traveler wants cheap tickets, the traveler must purchase them from an agency. Number 3, the stewardess is serving peanuts to the passengers. Number 4, I need a window seat. Number 5, you and I forgot our passports. Pause this video right now and complete these answers, and then click on the video to see what you got correct. All right, now here are the answers. Number 1, they cost $800. Number 2, if a traveler wants cheap tickets, he or she must purchase them from an agency. Number 3, she is serving peanuts to the passengers. Number 4, I need a window seat. And number 5, we forgot our passports. Those are the correct answers to the exercise, and in preparation for tomorrow's lesson, be sure to compose 5 sentences using 5 different subject pronouns. So it would be helpful to rewind this lecture, go back to that chart, go over these exercises, and create 5 original sentences in preparation for class tomorrow. Thanks for listening, guys, and see you soon.